appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, good morning. I'm not getting an input from you, Chip. Hello, Chip. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Hello, welcome to... a little delay, even off our delay, though. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Wednesday. And we've got a ton of stuff to talk about, I guess, huh? It's just like had a very long and meeting last night, so we kick it right off. Group 4, and there was all kinds of things. So let's just get right into that, because CJ and I were lambasted last week over things, and let's just set something straight here. First of all, it's got nothing to do with public safety. Accusations that I was speaking out against public safety, which is ridiculous. When I say we shouldn't have new fire apparatus and new police cars and new equipment, then I'm speaking against public safety. There was no greater advocate for public safety, and it still remains no greater advocate.
Chip, we keep seeming to lose you. So what I'm gonna do? Chip, we keep seeming to seeming to lose you. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna try to get you in on our phone line and see if we can get this to work for us.
You want me to mute my audio?
Yeah, so what I would suggest is put it on speakerphone when I call into you, okay?
Okay. I will.
Because we gotta, for some reason the feed just isn't there. There you go.
Okay, let me mute my, so we don't get any background noise. Let me mute my, the thing doesn't come on yet. Hey.
Watch your language. Watch your language. Are you there?
I said, are we clear now?
Okay, I've got you. You should be on the line right now. Oh,
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We've got you now.
Okay.
Yep.
So as I was saying, and I don't know how much you got, we were talking about there were a lot of accusations and a lot of things going around about being anti-public safety. Let me make something perfectly clear. What retirement group someone is in has absolutely nothing to do with public safety. Equipment and manpower, and there was no bigger advocate when I was on the job, and even now. I've gone before the council. I went before the council and I got rid of the fire chief. And that's one of the problems. One thing I learned a long time ago in being a president for 24 years is that for most people, it's what have you done for me now? And if you don't agree with my agenda, you're an idiot or even worse. So I don't pay attention to those comments. The fact is that, my work product speaks for itself. When I took over the union, the firefighters didn't have a night differential. And they had been almost 2 years without a contract fighting over that differential. I got that. I also secured the educational incentive through a contract that was won in front of the JLMC. That was, at the same time New Bedford was losing benefits, we gained benefits. So my record, I'll put my record against anybody's record as far as that's concerned. But, that and a dime will get you nothing. Everybody takes all this stuff for granted now. Everybody walks around like we always had a night differential. Well, we didn't. Everybody walks around like we always had educational incentive. We didn't. Everybody walks around like we didn't have a lot of the stipends that I negotiated there. So the fact is that, so you can dislike me personally, and I don't care because frankly, I probably, there's no probably. I dislike most of those people who were condemning me anyway when I was on the job, and they were saying the same thing. So that's irrelevant. So let's get down to what we really dealt with here. Should EMS be in Group 4? Chief Lynch had his opinion, and he worked alongside it and stuff, and that's great, But, number one, Group 4 is for people who have an inherent danger. Every time they go into their work environment, they could die, because every time someone goes into a burning building or a hazardous materials incident, they can die doing their routine job as the police officers, as the corrections officers. When everybody else is running out, they're running in. They don't have the luxury of waiting till something's secured. And so that's my personal opinion. But listen, I was a union guy. I would like to have everybody have Group 3, state police, retire at 50. If we had $1 billion, that might be nice. But the fact is, as a member of the retirement board, I also have a fiduciary responsibility to try to keep that retirement system solvent. And what these people don't realize now is when you continue to have moving people into groups and increase the unfunded liability, when the state continues to offer early retirement packages, somewhere down the road, what will happen to you is going to be what happened in Rhode Island. They are going to attack that system, reduce the benefits, and you'll all be crying because you're only looking at the tree today. Of course you want to retire early. Everybody wants to retire. Everybody wants to make more money. But the fact is, you've got to look at having a retirement system down the road. You will be attacked. It's not a theory. Just look at what happened to your health care. The state gave you health care and made it a collective bargaining issue. And then when health care began to cost too much and unions would not give up that health care and the city couldn't take it away because it was under collective bargaining, they took it out of collective bargaining. Your legislature, your pro-public safety legislature changed the laws. And they said, okay, now it's up to the city if they want to take it out of collective, and that's what the city did. And that's why we have these high co-pays and really only one plan left. And they're continuing to attack those things. That's the government's MO. They give you early retirements. They give you all these things to get your votes, to get you out so they can have a short-term cash flow because you don't have to pay these people who get out at the highest pay grade. You can hire newer people and pay them lower with a total disregard for what happens in the future. And in the future, the system goes bankrupt. And do they blame themselves? No, they'll say, your retirement system costs too much, and we're going to take benefits away from you, just like they did with the health care. So my personal position on whether they should be in or not is irrelevant, because you know something, if the city council votes for it, they're in Group 4. Do I think it's a good idea personally? No. You know, and everybody is entitled to their own opinion. However, my opinion is fundamentally based on what I'm looking at to try to save a retirement system for the people who are just getting in it now. Because I guarantee you, you're not going to bankrupt the system before I'm dead. But when the new hires get to their retirement system, they may be sitting in the same seat the Rhode Island unions were when it completely eviscerated the Rhode Island retirement system, and they spent years in court and years hanging up in the air trying to figure out how much money they would have to live on. And that's one of the problems we have. Everybody looks at today, they're looking at their own agenda today with a total disregard for what's going to happen down the road. And regardless of what anybody says, this increases the unfunded liability. And I think last night, Kathy Andreas even talked about them delaying payments. Well, guess what? Delayed payments means a increased unfunded liability too. And I will not support that, because the more unfunded liability we get, the closer we get to an attack on the pension system and not having a pension system for the new people. So with that, I don't even, you can call me, you can dislike me. I dislike most of you anyway, so good luck. But let's be professional and let's deal with the real issue. It's got nothing to do with public safety. It's got to do with pay raises. It's got to do with money, and it's got to do with retirement status. It's got nothing to do with public safety. Is about manning. It's about equipment. It's about many things. But the retirement system has no effect at all on public safety. So let's just forget about that crap. Because
Hey, Chip, can you accept that video? The system went kind of screwy a little bit ago, and we don't have a picture of you. So if you could.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking at myself here talking, but. I mean,
Right, but we're not getting that picture of you yet.
Okay, can you hear the audio?
We can hear the audio because we got you coming in on.
All right. Looking at me, it's not the primary thing. It's what I say that's more important. And I'm trying to. I got the Fall River FRC TV on here. But,
Yeah, well, all we did was we lost the video on you, so we're just trying to get the video back. So
I'm getting to the end of my little trade. But look. You can disagree, and you have your personal feeling. But you can be professional. Listen, Patrick Higgins filed another complaint against the retirement board for. So even though Patrick and I are on the show and we can agree on a lot of things, that he does his thing, he files. Our attorney will respond to that and say, that we don't feel we violated it, and they'll deal with it. It's just like this. I have no problem with them going in front of council and advocating.
No, I hear you, Chip. I hear you. Believe me. And the thing is that this became such a mess.
Yeah.
That you had people saying you and I are against the city paying for PPE equipment, which is the furthest from the truth, because we've been advocating for years that the city should pay for all that equipment. And for people pick and choose what they want to say, and I find it so unbecoming of a union leader or any member of the fire department. Somebody brought up to me, and I don't remember if it was you or somebody else, but when the city tried to change the insurance plan on all the city employees, I don't remember a lot of city union leaders coming forward saying, no, we can't do this. And, where were they when that happened?
Well, then, Case, I went before the council for the retirees, and I complained, and then Mayor Flanagan called me at 11:30 at night, and we went in the next day, and I invited Joe Castro to that meeting, and we maintained Blue Cross, which now, and they can say that's nothing, but the fact is, if you were paying GIC prescription co-pays and you have young children or you use prescription, you'd be doing a lot of complaining, because not only did you have co-pays, you'd have a tremendously higher prescription. But like I said, look, we didn't say we're against turnout gear. That turnout gear and that wording has been in there forever. When I was the president, we talked about NFPA standards. The issue that you spoke about, you asked me a simple question: Did we pay for the turnout gear before out of our clothing allowance? And the answer to that was yes. Now the city pays, and so what? Like I said, it's just like what retirement system you're in. Who pays for that turnout gear is not a public safety issue. The public safety issue is that the language is still in the contract that says it has to meet NFPA standards.
That's right.
So the only difference is this is a money issue. It's not a public safety issue. No, I didn't, nobody ever said that we should not have an FTA standard. As a matter of fact, I put that in the contract, the original language about compliance and standards. was put in when I was the president. And
No, I hear you. Believe me. And
so, like you said, people take things out of context. They want to pick and choose. They're upset because you're not on their side. When you're on their side, you're an advocate.
Right.
When you're not on their side, you're an obstructionist. So look, I'm not condemning Chief. I'm not condemning Chief Lynch. He's advocating for his position. So he's entitled to that position.
That's right.
Just as I am entitled to have my opinion on what group they should be in, even though my opinion and his opinion is both irrelevant. It'll all depend on the city council action. But I do have an opinion on the unfunded liability, and I have a right to that opinion. The day somebody can call me out is the day I stand up or fail to stand up and go to the council and speak for public safety. When they say they don't want to, we'll talk about NFPA standards. How hard is the union fighting to try to get them to adhere to apparatus standards, which I did. The city doesn't because it costs too much. But listen, the fact is, the day that they say that they're not going to buy SCBA or they're not going to replace equipment and it goes before the council, I can guarantee you I will be there speaking in favor of equipment for police, fire, EMS, or anybody else that's providing a service to the city of Fall River. And, that is public safety. This is bullshit.
Well, whoa. Bull excrement.
Yeah.
But I was listening on the way in, people who called in and said, and obviously it was a firefighter, or at least a major supporter, who turned around and said, the city council, where were they? They're all there now to fight Group 4, but where were they when they cut the fire department staffing? Well, let's put this into perspective and in reality, okay? The fire department union was given two options. They could either take a pay cut, which I would not have supported, or they could give up some staffing. That was their options, okay? They obviously chose on giving up the staffing so they could keep their pays. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And I'm not saying that they should have given up, their salaries. But don't come back now and say, see, they didn't support us when we needed the staffing. No, you made the choice. So again, the propaganda works both ways. And again, my position has always been, and I had a conversation after the city council meeting yesterday, that if Fall River wants to get people to stay here and work here, then pay well here.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well,
give them a pay that they're worthy of.
And they started that, CJ, because look, as you said, under the career administration gave all the unions and they take an 8% pay cut or suffer reductions in manning. They suffered a reduction in manning. And at that point in time, they didn't complain about it because it was a voluntary. They actually chose to reduce their own manpower.
Exactly.
And so, but that's their prerogative, as I said. And actually, we made that choice when I was running the union. There were times where the city would say, well, if you take this, we're going to cut manpower. And I would go back to the body and say, what do you guys want to do? You want to maintain this pay scale and not take a raise, or do you want to take a manpower cut? And I actually had at the meetings I had members stand up that were getting laid off, and we didn't lay a lot of people off in those days. Our manpower was way up there. But
right.
We fought But I had guys say, tell them to lay us off, because when I come back, I want this job to be paying a decent wage. And that was the choice. Whether it was the right choice or the wrong choice was depending on the individual. We ended up ultimately not laying off most of the time, and we got the pay raises. But let me say something. A lot of people are talking about where were you? Well, the city council stepped up a couple of weeks ago and gave EMS an 11% pay raise.
That's right.
When everybody else is getting 0, 2, and 2. So let me explain something for the taxpayers out there. that will affect their retirement far more than going into Group 4. That 11% pay raise is a big chunk of money, especially when most of the other unions are getting 0, 2, and 2, 0, 2, 0, and they got 11%. So now they want to go in Group 4 to have an early retirement. And
Right.
look, hey, nobody's going to condemn them for doing that. That's their job. When
That's
I was
right.
in a union, I tried to get as much as I could, because guess what? And I never was guilty about it, because when I see administrators and political hacks, appointees getting big pay raises and stipends, I never had a qualm about trying to get as much as I could, and I don't have a problem with that. Unlike these guys that are whining, I'm just calling a spade a spade. I understand what they're doing. I don't care who pays. I don't care who pays for the turnout gear. If they get into Group 4, they get into Group 4. My position is, as someone who has seen what's happened to the health care and is on a retirement board, I have to look at the fact that the retirement board is subject to lawsuits for improper investments and stuff.
That's
and
right.
It's our job to try to keep that retirement system solvent. I want to see a retirement system that still offers the same kind of benefits it does now, 25 years down the road, when these new guys are finally retiring. And they don't, and a lot of them can't see that far down the road. They're not going to get old. They're not going to retire. It's not a big deal now. Let's get all this stuff. But remember one thing that I said at the beginning of the program. The state is great at giving early retirements, moving groups, doing things for political expediency, to get votes, to get more free cash temporarily, because they can get rid of the high-end pays and get guys in at entry-level salaries. But then, 15 years down the road, when all these people are retiring young and are still in the system, and more people are going in the system, what's going to happen to the retirement system? It's already been attacked numerous times. It's going to happen what happened to the health care. They screwed us with the health care, and I guarantee you, I probably will not be around. But be careful what you wish for, because you might get it. And somewhere down the road, you guys will be facing exactly what the Rhode Island unions faced when they were in court. They spent millions of dollars, and they still had their pension benefits cut.
Yeah, well, and Chip, the biggest problem that we have here is with EMS and you know, every contract this mayor seems to enter into. And again, the minion that was on you know, Radio Pravda today said he saved us millions of dollars on privatization of trash. He saved us money on the DPW contract where he put the settlement in there. He couldn't put the settlement in that contract. And that's what people don't understand. This kid is a master of illegal contracts. He's a master of it. You cannot bargain for something that doesn't exist yet. And everyone said the same thing to the union last night from the EMS. If you had first petitioned the city council to accept 426 or 467, excuse me, and then had your contract approved, guess what? It wouldn't have to be in the contract. But not only is it in the contract, it's in big, bold letters. So, of course, it's going to create a mess. Meanwhile, you know, when you're negotiating things out, you know, you have to be a strategist. You have to look at what's ahead in 10 steps. You can't just say, okay, this is the way it's going to be. We're going to put it in the contract and it's going to happen. The contract doesn't change the law. And then you've got a former judge. This made me laugh. Well, I can't give you an opinion right now. You were a judge. The law is the law. Well, there could be a case from 1937 that we kind of miss. That's kind of hard when the law went into effect in 2009. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's an you know.
So, you know, who's the obstructionist? Who's the obstructionist?
That's right. Well,
when you can't believe anything coming out of the mouths of the people sitting at that table from the administration, and then you have the corporate counsel who technically is supposed to represent, as he made sure everyone knew, he is not required to file suits for the city. He's only required to defend them. You can check the charter. Well, it's amazing how he knows that aspect of the law. But he doesn't know the fact that, you know, 467 took effect this way, and it's effective upon acceptance. So you can't accept it to go into effect on June 30, 2019. You can't do it because you have two issues. Number one, if you did that, you're violating the law. Number two, if you were able to do it, what's to prevent the council that comes in January 2018 from saying, we don't agree with that, we're going to rescind it?
Yeah, no, you're right, CJ. And the other factor is be careful what you say, because some people actually know, a little bit about it. The individual who was on the radio today who talked about, the mayor saving so much privatizing DCM. Maybe he doesn't know that most, and a very high percentage of EMS throughout the state is privatized, and
right,
they privatized because it was cheaper to have private service and have bids to have EMS service in many communities. So be careful what stop, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Don't give them kudos for privatizing when you're trying to, you just got a pretty damn good pay raise, and you may or may not move a group. And by the way, Group 2 is a group that has a better earlier retirement than Group 1, because they are exposed to hazards, potential hazards occasionally. So let's not say that, you've been left out in the cold and blah, blah, blah. You're already in a group that recognizes the fact that you are. But like I said, be careful, because when you get on a radio and start yammering about, DPW, to hell with those union guys. They got thrown out on the street. I don't give a shit about them. I don't care.
I'm on here.
Let's throw them out in the street. The mayor's a great guy. But make sure that I get my Group 4. Make sure I get my thing. And that's the problem. The problem is that, what have you done for me today? That's not true. Those are not true union guys. You don't take benefits away from your people, and you don't give a mayor kudos for basically throwing union people out in the street.
That's true. And again, it's 6 from one, half dozen the other with these people, because as we all know, what are the two levers which move people?
Fear and self-interest.
Fear and self-interest, and that's where we have it. And you know what? I do not condemn any union or any union leadership for getting every single thing they can possibly get.
Nor do I.
Okay?
I give them all the credit in the world. Get it.
Exactly. Get what you can get while you can get it. But I got to put...
but don't pretend that this is altruistic. Look,
exactly.
You go in there, and that's your job. And I don't, like I said before, I didn't have any qualms, because when I see the mayor's press secretary getting a $5,000 stipend, and somebody else is getting this, and these people are getting huge pay raises, and my guys are taking 0, 2, and 2. You know something? I will get as many stipends, as many things as you can. But I'm not going to try to pretend that this is, try to pretend that this isn't what it is. I'm working for my men, and I'm working because these people are giving themselves plenty of damn money too. And I think that the people who work for a living in this city, all of them, including DCM, the workers that are thrown on the street, deserved every damn penny.
I lost you here for a second, Chip, but such is life. I'm trying to figure out how I lost you. Yeah, I know. We lost the soundboard, Chip.